Good morning and welcome to another edition of The Aftermath on Tab Radio Racing and Sport. This is where we cover off on the highlights and lowlights of racing and sport over the past 24 hours. If you missed any of the action on Saturday, we will have every angle covered. Keep the dial locked on Tab Radio Racing and Sport for another action-packed edition of The Aftermath.
Yeah, very good morning. Welcome along. It is The Aftermath. Hi, Marty Young with you. Shorty is in the studio. G'day, David.
Hello there, Marty. Good morning to everybody tuned into The Aftermath. Great to be with you on this Sunday morning, and lots of excitement amongst Freo fans. There was fingernails getting bitten down to the quick last night, I must say, Marty, but they found a way to dig in, and Alex Pearce, geez, they've had some guys that have played reverse roles late in games this year. Josh Tracy often going down back the other way, and this time we saw the reverse with Alex Pearce going forward. But I like the versatility that Fremantle is showing, and I like the fact that guys are stepping up when the game's on the line. Yeah. So in previous years, these are games they just would have
lost.
They just would have coughed up.
This resilience that they're showing this year, and you can't doubt it. It's there in black and white. It's there on the paper, and it's there in the games. And as you said, it was this time. It was Pearce has normally been Jackson who's been bobbing up, and it was Pearce this time. Great mark. He hadn't, I don't think, done a whole lot in the game, but he wins the game for them. So well done to the captain. And Fife played such a big role in that last quarter to get them rolling again through the middle of the ground. Now, look, you're telling me probably social media they're coming for the Dockers again, but that was a banana slip game, just like Brisbane's game was, and Brisbane lost.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Dockers found a way to win.
Big style. And it's now 11-12, which takes a bit of doing. It does take a bit of doing. So big result there for them overnight. And
all they had to do was win, David. They just had to win. And they won.
And they got another two. It's exactly the same again. Doesn't matter if you win ugly, just keep winning, and who knows where they could find themselves.
What about if it was a draw, though? What would it have done to the final predictors?
Oh, well, everybody...
That would have just been all bets off.
Oh, big style. It would have been. Well, and they haven't got the best of percentages, so I guess they probably would have taken the whatever would have come their way, but fortunately it didn't have to come to that.
And hats off to Port, too, to bounce back like they did after that mauling the week before, the hands of Geelong, and to do that. There was a bit of doing it for Kenny, I reckon, going on there last night, and the crowd loved him.
I like that.
He was up and about when Aaliyah kicked that goal, and you could hear the crowd in the background going up for Kenny. He deserves to enjoy the last few games, doesn't he?
I'm with you big time, and I know that they've had a few hidings.
It's a wasted season and all of that, but...
Oh, you had to give the guy, know, his last year. What he's done for that club's been outstanding, and I think... whatever happens here on in, he can walk away with his head held high. Likewise, the football club, that they've done the right thing to a guy that's invested an awful lot into that playing group, and he's never lost the playing group. That's one thing you have to say about Kenny and Port Adelaide. They've always, they might have been beaten by some biggish margins this year, but they've had a lot of injuries, they've had a lot of players out, and they've got, to a degree, a little bit of a loss of direction, not knowing what's happening next year, but they've always played with love and pride for their coach.
Well, what about the game, too, from Travis Boak? For a bloke coming to the end of it, 350 plus. Jesus, he's a good player, a warrior. And to see him and Fife swap Guernseys after the game, too, was a special touch.
Magic moment, magic moment.
This weather update on The Aftermath is brought to you by Tab Touch.
Let's have a look at the weather. It was a little bit rainy on the way in this morning. Shower or two today, but around the state, Broome 29, morning fog, then sunny. Karratha 29, mostly sunny. Port Hedland, where Marty was up and enjoying the Cup festivities recently, 31 and partly cloudy. Carnarvon, bananas, well, there's a morning shower or two, but once the sun comes out, they'll be growing nicely for us. Geraldton 19, possible shower. Northam 17 with a shower or two. Kalgoorlie 20 degrees, the top there today with showers. Mandurah 16 with a shower or two. Identical in Pinjarra. Bunbury 15 with a possible shower. Albany 15, the top there today with a shower or two. Esperance 16 degrees and rain. Here in the metro area today, a shower or two. Possible rainfall 2 to 9 millimetres. 17 the top. It's currently 12.6 degrees.
After a huge weekend of racing and sport, we can all do with a Sunday saviour to round out the punting weekend in winning style. The Tab Touch Sunday Saviour is here to sweeten your Sunday on the punt. It's over to the boys to provide this week's edition of Tab Touch Sunday Saviour.
Yes, get involved, punters. The Retrovision text line 0427 789 571. Send through a multi somewhere between 2 and 4 legs. Has to be in by 9 o'clock this morning, and keep it very simple. If you're going to the races, for example, for Kalgoorlie, and you like race 1, number 1, Century CR11, second leg CR23, third leg, CR34. It's that easy. Just put it down. That way, no Soph today, but the Sebster, he's in here firing on all cylinders. He will go through those for us and we'll find a winner.
He's got last week's. You talk about keep it simple. Peter Sanfilippo, he went to Addington Trots, race 2, number 10, Kohai Sunburst, 360 win, into Winton Trots. He's gone to JB Hill, 3.7 the place. Total 13.32.
Oh, very nice. Well, hopefully he had a little bit of that himself.
And he adds 100 onto that, Shorty.
Bang. Yeah, that's 10 at the 13.30, 233. Now you got the Don Bradman voucher coming your way as well. Well done, Pete.
Don't forget, we're racing today on the Goldfields Campbell Cup Day, 1:17 start time, and we're pacing in the Wheat Belt. Calaberan gets underway at 1:07. They've got a little 6 eventer. That's Retrovision text line open. Morning, guys. So it rained in Perth yesterday and we had 16.2 mil. Looked to me like Pinjarra had more rain than Perth and the track looked like a bog down the home straight. Is Belmont now off the cards with any rain? Assume the track repairs are not holding up. Is that right? Safety obviously comes first, but it's frustrating for the punters and no doubt you guys reporting on it. Cheers, Jim Pommy Pie. Still grabbed 4 winners yesterday. Well, you just summed it up there, Jim. You've still grabbed 4 winners. We still had a race meeting. We still were able to go and the stakeholders were able to compete for prize money. Everyone got through safely. It's starting to annoy me a little bit, Shorty, because we've had Brock Nealing on. James Oldring has been very vocal about where we're at with the track. If you wanted to race at Belmont Park yesterday, you'd take the chance of ripping the whole thing up. And if they'd cop 40 mil like it was forecast, they got on the front foot. They moved it. There's one race or 2 races that it changes a little bit because of the barrier draw for the 1,000-metre straight races. The first race, the winner was odds on. Dollar didn't. And then they reassessed the market, and the second winner, Matty Girl, was favourite as well. Yeah. Because it had drawn wide. So the market's changed.
Punters adjust. People adjust.
And as you know, Shorty, they scrap the betting on Belmont Park and it comes back on as Pinjarra, so the price assessors get a chance. And it's not ideal, but it's the way it is.
And I've been in those situations where I've lobbed the overs and then the meeting street and you'd kick stones for a little while. But you know what it's better than? Not having any racing, Marty. Yep. And I tip my hat for people being agile enough to make the adjustment. It's easy to sit and take pot shots from the grandstand, but in reality, yesterday we'd already lost a meeting in Randwick.
Yep.
So you're sitting there as a punter yesterday and there's a great big hole. You're sitting there going, wow, geez, it doesn't feel right with no Randwick today. Can you imagine throwing in on top of that, no local meeting in WA at all yesterday?
And you know where there is another big hole? At Tab Touch Racing Wagering WA.
Returns to the industry.
Thank
if
you
there's
very
no
much.
meetings to bet on, how are you going to make any money as an organisation? So for me, hats off to the industry, hats off to being agile enough. Sure, it's a little bit of an inconvenience, but I'd prefer to operate with a race meeting and an inconvenience than let's roll the dice and hope that something happens. Meeting gets called off 2 races in. Then there's a blow up and you're entitled to blow up because there's been no foresight shown to try and adjust and make it happen. So personally as a punter, and I know for a lot of people that earn prize money and got paid for their day's work yesterday, they were very happy that there was a little bit of adjustment made and that they were able to go and operate and get some returns for the horses that they're paying for.
I hope, like in the fullness of time and after the winter season's finished, that they conduct a full and thorough inquiry into the whole thing and learn from and it's not a witch hunt.
Not at all.
It's just so that you learn going forward that this sort of thing doesn't happen again. And in that lovely conversation I had with Neville on Friday, he said that, we are getting a little bit, annoyed by it all and it could have been handled better, but it is what it is and let's get on with it.
That's the way to look at it. I'm with him 100%. And, Marty, it's what you've just raised is a really good point. So nobody's slapping each other on the back and saying, oh, how good's this, what's going on out there with the track over the last few months. There's nobody taking any pride in what's happened in this scenario. So let's review it. Let's work out what's gone wrong. And like you say, it's not to sit there and point the finger at somebody, but it's to avoid it from happening again in the future.
Yep.
So that's all it is. But I think as an industry, any industry that wants to succeed heading forward, you must review what you've got going on as an operation.
Good and bad.
Yeah, good and bad.
Yep.
So that when you get it right, you can go, right, let's bottle this and try and bring it out when we want to. And when it doesn't go right, what can we improve on to make the situation better next time around? So, again, it's not about trying to point fingers at people. It's about trying to ensure that it doesn't happen again going into the future. But for the here and now,
let's deal with it.
For being agile enough and clever enough to keep the meeting rolling, like last week, like yesterday. Props to all involved. As a punter, I thank you for getting the show on.
And I've spoken to David Hunter about it, and it does affect turnover negatively when it switches from Belmont Park to Pinjarra, particularly on the East Coast. However, as you said, there's a meeting is better than no meeting, or a meeting that stops after race 1, 2 or 3. So,
big time.
As you said, got the agility to move it too. And hats off again to Pinjarra, to Northern, to Bunbury for picking these meetings up. You know, there's a risk with their track as well because it's getting belted up because of this, but it's for the greater good.
Yeah, and that's the fact that we're all, like, people sometimes have to remember, we are all on the same team.
Yep.
We want the best outcome for racing. We want the best outcome for the horses, for the owners, for the trainers, for the punters, for the industry, for the workers. We're all in this together. Surely.
Text line's open. Retrovision. 5 swapping jumpers with Boak post-game. Does this say anything about his own future? Well, I think it does a bit, doesn't it?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course it does.
Is it on the record that this is his last year? Or?
No, but I think we're all... sometimes you can read between the lines.
Yeah.
Sonny Walters has moved on, and he was in a similar probably situation, and he's gone a little early. His body let him down. I think Fife is pretty aware that he can't quite do what he used to do, but he's hoping like hell that there's a role there for him in the next 8 weeks.
Now, shout out to the Shane train. After a few meatloafs late this week, last night, 3 from 3, 250, 340, 620. Very happy from his number one fan, the Mauler.
Good on you, Mauler. Yes, he did have a good night. He sent me a message on last night, said he was sick and tired of the meatloaf, and had a few messages come through of some people that shopped early, 100 to 1 the treble, if you don't mind. So,
wow.
Very nice. And there was also, I just showed you a ticket from a couple of my mates take my 3 with the trains 3, and last night between us we had 5 winners and a second that got beaten a cigarette paper.
West on Sydney, and they had $13 on to win $8,000, and were beaten an absolute eyelash for the Did they do all the doubles,
they got the lot, 2 3s, 4s, 5s. So they won many thousand last night, but that was the one that for 13 could have been the old 8 large in, just jump in. So, but it's great, and look, he puts a lot in. We have a lot of fun with him. He's obviously great talent and a wonderful guy, but he does work hard on his form, and he gets enormous pleasure out of nailing them and getting results for people like the Mauler. So we'll pass that down the line, Mauler, and well done to you.
Okay, and Jim upon my pie's come back. It's a good point. Looking at Sydney, they had no racing. Cheers for your insights. Was definitely a better outcome to having racing here than a meet called off after 3 races at Belmont Park. Right time to talk some NRL, and a bit going on in the NRL. James Sully Sullivan, good morning.
Hello, Marty. Hello, David.
Hello, Sal. Nice to be with you, Sal, on a Sunday morning. I'll give you the tip right now. And, well, this is like you when you first arrived over in England all those years ago. Hasn't there been some scoring going on in the NRL?
Oh, my word. And all over at half time, too. That's the big thing. So, it's been a fascinating round, actually.
Bit like yourself.
Yeah, well, it is early.
You go a bit early, Sal.
That's it. No, it's been. I've enjoyed it.
Yep.
In particular, a couple of good games. And at the end of the day, it was sort of that statement, of course, Indigenous round, but it was that really that. It's been a statement round as well.
Well, I asked you on Friday, were the Bulldogs the real deal? 32-14. We'll work it backwards chronologically in reverse.
Yep.
Reverse engineer it. 32-14, the Bulldogs over the Warriors.
Yeah, well, that last night, they were good. They were good, but they are also good. And what we've seen in a number of these games when we talk about them, it's the first half. That's been the key. 20-2 at half time. And they ended up having 56% of the footy. But this Warriors side, they missed 46 tackles last night. You can't do that.
No.
You cannot do that. So, yeah, they are really, as I said, I think I said the other day to you, Marty, from round 7, they've been firmly entrenched in the top 4. Well, I've got news now for Warriors fans. They're not anymore.
No.
So, but you can't miss 46 tackles and expect to really push aside that. And probably the Achilles heel of the Bulldogs in the last 7 games has been their opening 40 minutes. But last night they got it right.
I tell you what, Sol, it was played in very, very damp conditions, It must be said. It was absolutely bucketing down for the majority of this match. And I guess that gives you, a small out as far as sticking your tackles. It was quite wet and the players would have been pretty slippery, but the Dogs managed to find a way to stick theirs while the Warriors were below par. And Crichton was very good, and also Tuala with a double there.
He did, and you mentioned Stevie Crichton. He was up and about, wasn't he? He knew they were due to put on a performance, and you can just see it in his eyes. He's an inspirational leader, and as you mentioned, Ari Tuala grabbed a double.
What about this game? Did you see this coming? Roosters 64 beat the Dolphins 12 away from home at Suncorp.
Yeah, so the sin bin copped a smashing in this game. It was on for young and old. They don't like each other.
It was quite comical to watch, but come on, let's get serious. There wasn't a punch throw, and there was a couple of open handers. 2 desperate teams. Their season on the line, basically, both these sides. There's a little bit of intensity. How good's that? And 4 players get sent to the bin? Oh, give me a spell. Fair dinkum. It was like touch there at one stage, 11 on 11. But, yeah, the Roosters, as you said, Marty, wow, 11 tries, 36-6 at half-time. Incredible. And they ended up, with quite a lot of the footy, which you expect. But, let's be totally honest. At the start of the year, the Roosters, when you looked at who's gone and who's come in, you thought, okay, it'll be a rebuilding year. Wow, aren't they crowing this morning? Nawonga Nitawasi.
Oh, your man.
Mate, he's got
first
3
2 tries. Yeah.
3?
Yeah, I know. So they got the first 2.
Yeah. Oh, first 2. So my apologies, mate. Yeah, you're right. But then Tedesco, Tupou, they both grabbed doubles. And the same scenario, this Dolphins side, 42 missed tackles. You know the great man Tim Walker was there last night?
Was he really?
Yeah. I looked after him.
Yeah.
Him and the wife and the little one. We got him some lovely seats at Suncorp, and he experienced it. He said, wow, what a stadium. It is a special stadium.
Outstanding.
So, big win there for the Roosters.
Yeah, I just can't get over that scoreline. 64, that's some real gunpowder, and that's got to be good for their confidence as well, the Chooks you'd expect coming out of that. The Dragons were 22-14 winners over the Sharkies, Sull, and this was all done early in the game. All the scoring was done in the first 46 minutes, and the Dragons were able to keep the Sharks at arm's length.
Oh, yeah, the Dragons will be up and about in the Shire this morning, the big local derby. And that's the first time since 2016 the Dragons have defeated the Sharks at their home ground at Cogra. So 16-14 at half-time. I tell you what, I'm going to get this stat. I love it. This year, Debuts just scored tries for fun in their first game. Hayden Buchanan last night for the Dragons. He's a very talented kid, this kid. Trust me, watch his name. But he scores on debut. There was only 1 try in the second half. That was Clint Gutherson. But same sort of scenarios. The Sharks missed 26 tackles. The Dragons missed 22. But, mate, that's a big win for the Dragons. I'll tell you what they're enjoying at the moment.
Yeah.
It was on the back of Shane Flanagan re-signing for 2 years. They don't mind beating these sides in the 8, do they?
No. Okay, then we go back to Friday night. The Raiders 28 over Seagulls 12 and the Knights 12. Panthers 48. They're purring.
Yeah, they are indeed. The Raiders on the back of Ethan Strange grabbing 3 tries. They led 10-6 at half time. The game was still there. Manly ended up with 55% of the footy. But, I think Ricky will be happy. What he won't be happy was he had more missed tackles than the Seagulls, the Raiders. So, they'll cop a flogging this week. And you mentioned this game was the one that blew me away. The Panthers, they led 26-0 at half time. The Knights at home have been horrible all year, but The Panthers had 64% of the footy. You should be leading 26-0 at half time. They went on with it in the second half, 48-12. My new pin-up boy, Casey McLean, grabbed the double again, Marty. Gee whiz, he's a good kid, this one.
Yeah, you found him.
So,
yep.
Yeah, we have. And the Panthers, as we said, they sit in the 4. Wow.
All aboard.
What a performance that is, Shorty, to come back from where they were. They were last.
Correct, and look to be cast. Look to
Last
be
and
absolutely cast. And the punters, no, they've had their run now. That'll do them. Well, they've said, okay, we just like having a bit of a challenge. We just like giving everybody a little bit of a head start so we can chime in and give ourselves something to do in the second half of the season. And they've let rip. And once again, I think they're into second favouritism outright to win it now. It's remarkable. So they've been a phenomenal club in recent years. What they've been able to achieve is amazing. And just when everybody writes them off and thinks this is the end, they've found a way to be relevant again.
Well, it's amazing. Ivan doesn't let them have holidays till the middle of October. So for the last 5 years, they said, okay, boss, we'll go in the grand final every year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not a bad deal.
Can they do it this year? This is the thing. But at the moment, what we're seeing, and this is one thing I have noticing, we're seeing these sides who let the ball talk and they go left to right and just let it go, but you still got to go forward. They're the sides that I think will worry the likes of the Storm at the back end of the game. I still like the Storm to win the comp, but the Panthers coming along nicely. The Raiders, they play that risk and reward footy. That's a big thing. And you just mentioned it earlier, Marty, about the Roosters just starting to get everything. And, mate, little Sam Walker's come back into that side. Gee whiz, he's made a difference.
10 out of 11.
Yeah, it's humming. What I do like is that some of these big sides now are starting to really flex their muscle and not just win games, but put big scores on the board, and that's entertaining. But it makes for attacking games where people are constantly involved and give them something to get excited about, which is great for the game. Couple of games today, Sol. Gold Coast Titans $1.58, South Sydney $2.38. That line's 4.5, and total points 53.5. And the later game sees the Parramatta Eels. The train will be up and about today, cheering on the Snakies. They're 158. The Cowboys 235. That line's at 4.5, and the points 47.5. Take us through how these two games are going to unfold and a couple of plays for the punters.
Yeah, Rabbitohs have won their last 9 against the Titans, but the Titans have been pretty good the last 3 weeks. As we know, they've had the 2 heartbreaking Golden Point losses, had a win in between. The Rabbitohs blown away last week by the Broncos, but Latrell Mitchell comes back into the side. And we've seen some of these sides at home. The Titans are 1 from 7 at home this year. Fair dinkum. They wonder why they don't get anyone there anymore. But, you know, I'll go the Titans because I think they're in pretty good form. Big news this morning about Big Tino, Sully Sullivan. He's been allowed to have a chat to other clubs. Well, we know which one he is. You're firmly entrenched over there, boys. I reckon the Perth Bears are going to throw everything at Big Tino.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
That's breaking news this morning, lads. But
okay.
I'll go the Titans at the line, which is -4.5. I'm happy enough there. But as I said, Latrell comes back in, things happen. It's going to be a good game, that first one. The second one, wow. What's the points, Marty? Shorty, sorry?
47.5.
Oh, yeah, click in. Mind you, I tell you what, today's going to be fine. I'm heading out to Sydney shortly. And it's going to be fine up there, no more rain. Eels have been good since Mitchell Moses comes back, and they won 5 of the last 7 v the Cowboys. And the Cowboys at Combank have lost their only 3 games there. So same scenario. I'll go the line at the -4.5. I'm happy enough to sort of have a little play there. But we're going to probably that's about $3.61. So both the Titans and the Eels at the line. I'm going to have a couple of try-scoring plays. I'm going to go, I mentioned him, Latrell Mitchell into Mitchell Moses at $8.64. And then I'm going to go Bo Firma. I'm going to go a couple of back rowers. So Bo Firma from the Titans and Jeremiah Nane from the Cowboys at $8.55. So a couple of little plays. We can hopefully a couple of boys can get over the try line.
So you've been a star as always. We'll tune in on Thursday morning and chat again on Friday.
Yeah, look forward to it, boys. Have a cracking Sunday.
James Sully Sullivan talking NRL. I want to get to this one before we go much further. From Snoz, always good on a Sunday. He's a Sunday staple, isn't he? Morning, Marty and Shorty. The stand rule in our game is the worst rule change that must be reversed. The stand rule is allowing players to gain 15, 20 metres on their opponents. It also has umpires awarding 50-metre penalties when moving after stand is called. It will also have a massive penalty in any finals, costing a side an entire season's efforts lost. It is getting very frustrating. It's the worst one is when the man on the mark comes in the same way as the guy who's taken the mark, not the other way.
Yeah.
And has to. And I don't know what's going on. Do you?
No.
It's Russian roulette.
It's very difficult to get your head around. And then any time the player tries to adjust on the mark, come with me, 50, they get pegged.
There were crucials in that Dockers game and in the Sydney-Brisbane game.
No doubt.
Had the opportunity of changing the whole match.
Oh, absolutely. The other one that gets me sometimes, and you're mad not to use it to your advantage if you're a player, but often you'll see someone standing, for example, 51 metres out on the mark, and the player will visibly get onto an arc and veer to get themselves to about 48 metres, but on a different angle, and kick it. And you're thinking, well, they're over the mark. That should be play on. But they don't get called play on.
No.
And so it's not at times, as a viewer, it can be frustrating, very, very frustrating. And then the occasional time that the player looks and says, well, surely I'm entitled to stop them from getting an extra 3 metres on me, and they crib and get to go,
50.
Whistle 50. Yeah. Oh, what? So, yeah, goodness knows. I think they're trying different things to keep the game sped up, but that's one that does keep me frustrated at
Retrovision
times.
text line, plenty more to get to. We'll talk to Chris Nelson after this.
Blah, blah, blah. Let Marty Young and David Shortte do all the talking on The Aftermath. Sunday morning at its best on Tab Radio Racing and Sport.
Yeah, we head to Queensland, review Eagle Farm from yesterday with Chris Nelson. Good morning.
Good morning, Marty. Good morning, Shorty.
Hello there, Chris. Wonderful to be catching up with you on this Sunday morning. Let's recap all the action from Eagle Farm. Of course, the Sydney races called off yesterday, so our focus is firmly on this meeting up there in Queensland. We kick off our review in race number 2, where the short price favourite Razors was too good for them. Benny Thompson defeating More Love and Prado. And isn't this young man kicking goals since returning from his stint up in Hong Kong? All he's done is ride winners.
Oh, it's just unbelievable. He just keeps churning out multiple winners each meeting he turns up at, Shorty. I mean, 2 yesterday, 3 at Doomben midweek, 4 last Sunday on the Sunshine Coast, and he had a winner on the Saturday as well. So that trip to Hong Kong has certainly done Benny Thompson no harm whatsoever. So he'll be hard to beat in the premiership. But we talk about Razors. Well, he was the good thing of the day on paper, of course, coming from the James Cummings stable, the Godolphin sell-off. He'd run some pretty good races, or 2 good races in Sydney this prep, and he was very well placed in a Class 3 plate. There's no doubt about that. He didn't get the job done in devastating fashion. He wasn't dominant by any means, but as I said, he got it done. He should take improvement off that. Probably would have liked him to be a little bit stronger to the line late, but we'll see what he comes up with in the next few starts. Veloz's led. She was a little bit keen. Lone Artist was wide, no cover, forgive the run, but we'll see what Razors does as he goes forward during his campaign with Jack Bruce.
He's a nice-looking horse. I've got to give him that by sidestep. And he was sort of first up for Jack, I mean. But, yeah, there could be improvement in him just by the way he looked, as you said, in the yard. Race 3, Just Precious, Stuart Kendrick, Jake Bayless combining, beats Berezka, the favourite. Odds on, couldn't get the money done. I don't think David Fowler was that happy with it. By the call.
Look, Berezka's been... I don't think she's been disappointing. She's been frustrating. Her last couple of runs she sat, including yesterday, she sat 3 wide, no cover. Yet she's still been strong to the line. But in yesterday's race, they didn't go hard at all. And it turned into a little bit of a sprint home. And Just Precious was able to cut the corner there and save the ground, whereas Berezka had to come wide. And you could see she just peaked on the run the last little bit. She was going... I mean, if you were chiming in at the 200-metre mark, you'd say she was going past for sure, but she just peaked on that finish, and Just Precious, with the softer run, was able to pull clear late. I thought Boom Shot was good. That was his second run back from a break. His last 50 metres or so was his best in the race. Now, he'll get further. So 1,350, 1,400 metres for him next start. He should be just about ready to fire. So Just Precious always had decent wraps, got the job done, wouldn't sack Bereska, but followed Boom Shot.
The good times rolled on for Tony Gollan in race number 4 with Free Carry. First up, Emily Lang aboard, claiming the 1.5 kilos. And this 6-year-old son of Bonhoeffer, able to get the job done nice and fresh. Was a good performance. Wasn't a bad lineup. It defeated Sultry Siren. Johnny DeWolf let the punters down. It was finishing in third place as the $2.15 fave.
He was poor, Johnny DeWolf, Shorty. He really was. He sat outside and shaded Free Carry in the run. Free Carry was first up, so you would have thought maybe fitness-wise could have been a little bit soft, but it wasn't the case, and they did run along here. The tempo was quite strong in this race, so for Free Carry to keep going and then pull clear of them late shows that this one's really turned the corner. And he did run some good races last prep. He did win first and second up. He had trialled well, so no great surprise to see him win, but I thought the win was extra good. You take the tempo into account. Sultry Siren had a good run, stayed on for second. Casper Nova, now, 1,400 metres was always a query for me with him. He did get too far back once again. He did make ground. He kept on coming, but he was beaten 5 lengths. He's just been a little bit disappointing this prep. Hasn't quite kicked on. And we mentioned Johnny DeWolf. He was disappointing. That's just a poor run from him. I find him very hard to catch, and I tipped him yesterday. I won't be tipping him next time, I can assure you.
Okay, race number 5 was Bengal Boy, Chris Lee's Andrew Mellion. The disappointment was Fio Prospero. I think both you, Nathan, and Chucky Fowler were on this one. I think David called it a weak performance.
It was a weak race. It was a weak. I think David probably would have liked to go a little bit deeper there, but he wanted to keep his job at the same time. But yeah, offered absolutely nothing. Fio Prospero. But it was a terrible, not terrible, it was an ordinary race for the stayers over 2,400 metres. I wouldn't be even bothering about looking at any format of this race going forward.
Fair enough. Let's move on to race number 6, where Foreign Press and CJ Graham arrived, defeating Calypso, Rocket and Impervious. This is your trial horse from memory.
Yep.
Shorty, and it was a good run.
Yeah.
Very good run. I don't think she really handled the ground all that well, but she certainly had no luck at all. She was held up badly around the 200-metre mark, and by the time Emily Lang was able to get into clear running, the bird had flown. Foreign Press, the stablemate, had gone clear. But I like the way Impervious did finish off. The head-on view makes for interesting watching. Don't sack her at all. That turn of foot will be there once she gets to a good track. So stick with her. Foreign Press was good, going well this prep, lightly raced to stablemate. And as Tony Gollan did say post-race, was the one of his 3 that he thought would get through the ground best. And that was certainly the case. Calypso Rocket, nice debut, running second. That's about all you can say from that race. Foreign Press, you can probably follow going forward, but for me, big ticks next to Impervious, and I'll keep following her.
Okay, Gollan's got one of these Godolphin horses here, Amur winning by Snitzel, Benny Thompson.
Yeah, it wasn't the intention to lead, but the horse began so well that Benny Thompson thought, why not? I'm on a roll. I might as well just go to the front and see if they can catch me, and was able to get away with, I wouldn't say cheapish sectionals, but the run home was a lot stronger than the first part of the race. So it turned into a little bit of a sprint home, and Amur was able to pinch that break, which makes the run of Bullion Boy a good one. He gave Amur 3 to 4 lengths at the early stages, or when they settled. He tried very, very hard. He kept coming right to the line. He was only beaten 0.3 of a length. So he's going well this prep. I wouldn't be jumping off him. Super Duck in the lead was a surprise. Sailor's Secret pulled up with a slow recovery. And Chrysaor, who's impossible to catch, well, the steward's report suggested, the jockey suggested that he didn't handle the ground. So Amur probably can keep on winning at this time of the year. Bullion Boy, don't jump off.
All right, on to race number 8. And once again, Emily Lang successful, the 1.5 kilo claimer, teaming up with Tony Gollan with Gospel Girl. Beautifully named animal by Epaulet out of Spread the Word. You can just imagine them up there in the choir sending out the message on this Sunday morning. There'll be a few of them around the globe, I would suggest, Chris O. But Gospel Girl, those that backed it yesterday were singing absolutely from the grandstand, because it was a really impressive performance.
Let's hope some of them backed it, because they will be singing a lot harder. But, yeah, beautifully rated in front by Emily Lang. Tempo to suit. Turned into a bit of a dash home, and she put a gap in them in the straight and was able to keep going, win by almost a length. But that race just set up beautifully for her. She'd had a couple of runs back in. She was back at her peak here. She had no weight on her back, so everything panned out perfectly for Gospel Girl. Larrikin Road got a better effort, ran on quite well first up and about to explode. We thought probably would need the run. Needs a bit more tempo as well. So there was nothing wrong with the run of number 7, who finished 4th. And that's about it from the race. Scottsville Girl, she's very consistent. She may win another one this prep, but about to explode, certainly can going forward.
Favourite gets in for Liam Birchley in the last. Bellegardo prevents Tony Gollon from a 5-timer with Simbu running second.
Yeah, it was a good win, Bellegardo. Now, he's raced really well this prep. He stood up in the during the Winter Carnival, won a feature race there, finished third in a listed race. Sunshine Coast run last time, he didn't have much luck, but here he sat off them. They did go reasonably quick in front, gave them 5-length start, did sit wide early. I think the big positive out of the race was he won so comfortably, yet he was pulled up lane in the stewards report. So that's an extra special win from Bellegardo. Simbu did well. They both had 60 kilos. And Pareto wasn't a bad run either. He missed the kick. He's usually a horse that likes to lead. He managed to get into 4th spot, so that was quite a good effort from him.
Excellent. Chriso, Sunny Coast activities today, an 8 racer there. Anything for the punters?
A heavy 9 at the Sunny Coast and a 12-metre rail, Shorty. Makes it a bit difficult.
Don't do it.
I would suggest that it should be a Leader's Paradise, and I've got one.
Okay.
Race 4, number 3, Backstage. Race 4, number 3, Backstage. Loves the wet. Leads this race on its ear on paper. I don't see how they'll probably... Well, I'm not going to say go over the top here, but on paper, this horse should lead from go to woe.
It's where Marty's done some of his best work too, backstage.
Yeah.
The old flash the pass to the bouncers on the way through into the green room. Away you go, Mart. Do your best there.
It's $1.65. Come on, we better throw it into a Sunday saviour somewhere.
Unfortunately, there was no prices up when I finished the form this morning, so I didn't know what price it would come up.
Is that too
there was
short?
Another one there, but I'm going to have to find it. Well, no, probably not. It'll probably get out to $1.80 or something.
Okay.
No, I had another one there. Just quickly, race. It's come up $1.75. Don't worry about it.
Roll them into each other. Roll them into each other if we have to.
Race 4, number 3, into race 5, number 4.
Okay.
5-4. What do we got? 5-4.
They both should be in front.
Well, if you don't say the name, Richie Bell will drive off the road.
Streak of winning.
Streak of winning.
Streak of winning.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Beautifully done. Thanks, Chris. We'll tune in on Wednesday.
Look forward to it, guys. Have a great Sunday.
Chris Nelson leaves us there just before we go to ads and Racetrack Ralphy morning. Yes, it was a terrific finish by the Dockers, but can someone in there explain to me and my family, who are not all Docker supporters, how can Port have 29 free kicks if Frio's 12? All I can think of is that these umps are Adelaide-born and subconsciously don't realise the favouritism a lot. Yeah, a lot like local umpires did with the West Coast. Frank of Queen's Park. We'll take a break, but yeah, it was lopsided, the free kick count.
Sunday morning, we will do the talking on The Aftermath with Marty Young and David Shortte on Tab Radio Racing and Sports.
Racetrack Ralphy, a very good morning.
Good morning, boys. We had Moonee Valley yesterday. Now, fortunately, Vince Cardi's data's just dropped. I'll probably speak through it as we go through the races. But as an overview, if some horses won and some horses didn't, and it was mainly because the track played a lot softer than expected, borderline a heavy track.
Wow.
All righty, well, let's go through. We'll go through race by race. Ralphie, you can tell us who we need to put a little mark next to. The first race of the day was...
Morning, Shorty. Did you float in this morning?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 100%.
Well done.
Indeed. Let's have a look at the first of the day, the benchmark 70, and it was Nothing Else Matters defeating Rise to It and also Katani Gardens.
Yes, and this is there was a little bit of money for this horse. Now, when it won at sale, it won a very average lead-in, but it ran the best last 200 of the day, which is very, very rare for a horse to do that at the end of, 2,200 metres. And that probably said that they thought there was a bit of merit to it, and it was on a soft track, so it can handle soft ground, and hence why it got a bit of support, and it was able to just get a beautiful Bo Mertens ride, just blending into the right lanes on the track, which is about 3 to 4 off yesterday, and clearly the on paces just hit that wall, and because of the work they were doing through that inferior ground. So a nice win, but probably needs similar conditions to win again.
Harry Coffey warming up for the spring. He's become the spring specialist, hasn't he? For Kieran Maher, Jennifer Moose gets the money.
Absolutely. Now, wasn't much on the clock with this win, but it settled in a non-winning position. Anything 10 lengths from the lead just doesn't win, and it was 10 lengths from the lead. and it was very, very strong last 400. It was, the fifth best last 400 of the day at the end of 2,500 metres. So I think it's got a bit of upside, this mare. I'd be absolutely sticking with it. There's a benchmark 78. I think it's slow maturing mare, only been with Kieran Maher. This is the first prep with Kieran Maher. It's going to win more races. Put a big circle around it.
Nice, Geneva Moose, get around it. Gee, Bluestone certainly been consistent as far as getting a silver medal round its neck of late as well.
100%. He's better on dry ground too, but he's probably more your midweek meeting type horse. He'll find a win, but Geneva Moose, very impressed by that.
Fillies and Mares, benchmark 74, race number 3. This was a nice win to Kiko. Jordan Childs defeating Thinking of Gertie and Vain Champagne.
Look, can't find my Miller's guide. Who trained him?
Penguin.
Oh, he's just too good. I looked at his stats on the favourites in Melbourne over the winter, and they're just dynamic. So it was in the right spot. The horse wanted to be on the run the whole time. There was good speed on, and it just stalked that speed. Beautiful Jordan Childs ride. Big circle around this one, boys. Jenny the Fox. This was the classic August first up blowout run, 60 kilos. This was the kickoff run, and it loomed, and then the last 200 was complete tank out, and as I said, it had that particularly slow, and this is no one's fault, by the way, but it doesn't get the weather at this time of year, so that Moonee Valley always, when it returns, slower in that 600 to 200 sort of range, and then that's where it had to do its work. So Jenny the Fox, one of the horses to follow for the meeting, and with some confidence.
O'Kill now with the Hayes boys, looks a bit of a Moonee Valley specialist.
Well, he certainly can let rep dynamic sectionals, and he's done that again. And I think there was a fair bit of confidence pre and post race about this horse. So I think he's going to take a power beating in the. There's a lead in the Moya. The name escapes me for the moment. Morning and Glory won it last year, and the one thing I would mention though, just as an overview for when they return in 2 weeks, if the rail goes out 4 metres, it'll be a different track, and you'll want to be right on pace. So often what they do, they rail true first meeting back, rail out 4 metres second meeting back. And a horse like Oak Hill, it'll be against Morning of Glory, and there'll be other speedy horses, might find it tough to make that type of ground that did yesterday. But it actually, obviously turned up with the mouth guard in, best last 800, 400, 200 of the day. So it was a really good return, and Midwest better on dry ground.
The Norman Carline.
Norman Carline, exactly the one I was thinking of. Yep.
All right, on to race number 5, the Darren Gresh. This was over the 1,000 metres, and Don't Hope Do, Tommy Stockdale for Simon Zara, proving too good for Deep Flope Diva and Stolly Bolly. Yeah,
a tick there to Tommy Stockdale. He rode 2 winners yesterday by just putting the handlebars down, and almost Craig Williams style. And Craig's such a great front running jockey when he goes really fast on him, and that's what Tom did yesterday. This was. It might have been a bit of a bonus win. I mean, he was first up, and he's shown a bit of talent, this horse. We black booked him after Cranbourne and Ballarat Cup Day last summer, and I noticed afterwards that it wasn't Simon Zara, but the stable rep said that he had a bad temperature and they just couldn't get him right. They had the spell, and they were really disappointed. So I think this was a bonus win first up. The others, were pretty sort of fit and basic sort of benchmark 74, but don't be surprised if he wins again. The one point I'll make, though, about Stolly Bolly, who was the first up favourite, he had to do that work through that softer ground, and he's better at 1,200. So don't be ruling him out from that defeat yesterday. I think he's just needs 1,200 to show his best.
Shorty, it was a feed up on the dash job here with Isha in race number 6.
Nice horse, Ralphie. This was dynamic.
Yeah, the only query I had going into it was, some of those race fit horses, but when you saw Frosty Lane, can anyone be swinging off a certainty better than Frosty at the 400? When he's swinging, it's
a good sign.
It's straight in your account job, isn't it? So the market said it's a real good horse. So when it won in South Australia, it was the best of the day, and it was just a case of if it was going to turn up and not be tested by the race fit horses. Well, it wasn't, and it was often gone at the 400, and it's got more wins to come. So nice and strong. What it does do, and this is very rare at this time of year, it's very comparable with what Oak Hill did. I mean, Oak Hill would smash it, but it would have beaten the others in the race, put it that way. So that's a very good sign. So it's an exciting horse, Escher, for sure.
Indeed. On to race number 7, Mark Zara teamed up with Relentless Voyage. Just dropped on them late. Nellie Lalex was up on top of the speed, setting the tempo, looked the goods with a while to go, and Sadati was there out of the 1-1 position, but Relentless Voyager from back in the pack, smoking the pipe and all over the top late.
Yeah, well, was this a win? Now, it's pulled up lame, so I don't know if it was 1 out of 5 or worse, and hopefully it's just 1 out of 5 because, yeah, this has got more wins to come out of it for sure. And I heard Jack Turnbull from Kieran's stable post-race be very, very bullish about this horse and saying that they use this race. I think they used it for Duke de Sessa, and they've had other good stayers come through. So I think they've got a very big opinion of this horse. Mm-hmm. The speed was on. It really was on, and that mucked up Sadade. Logan Bates, he was betwixt and between. I'm not blaming the kid, but because the speed was on, he sort of looked to then slot in rather than just roll forward, and the seniors behind him weren't letting him in either. So it probably could have finished closer, but the best horse won, and I'm hoping it's a very minor problem because it's got more wins to come.
Sean Mathrick knows how to back a winner. Shoeless, Craig Newitt, race 8.
Well, absolutely, and barrier 1, but this was. Craig could put this one in the scrapbook, even though it was a minor race, because it was just a perfect Moonee Valley fence, rail true, barrier 1 ride, because he just kept on edging off from the 600. There was a modest sort of tempo ahead, so he just made sure he was within striking distance. Conversely, a horse like Far Flung was just in an impossible position, and then there was traffic to his outside, and there was nothing Jamie Mellon could have done about it. So just the wrong setup for Far Flung. Your money was never a winning hope, but in the end, it was a basic benchmark 74.
Indeed, and the lucky last race, number 9, went the way of Red Hot Nick, Tommy Stockdale for Philip Stokes.
Yeah, handlebars down, really good ride, but sort of basic race to finish off the meeting. I wouldn't be stamping any of these coming out of that race, but horses to follow with a fair bit of confidence. I would say Jenny the Fox, the Jennies, Jenny the Fox and Jenny Vermoose amongst those that got beaten, but and amongst the winners, obviously Escher, Relentless Voyager, and then the main race of the day that Oak Hill, they're going to win many races with that horse as well.
Come on, Ralphie, who's your next coach?
Well, everyone seems to tell me it's Nathan Buckley, so I'll stick with that until I hear otherwise.
Okay. Thanks, Ralphie.
Good on you, Ralphie. You happy with that, Ralphie? Would you be happy with the Bucks at the helm?
He's a great man. He'll be better second time up too.
Love your work. Ralphie, great catching up with you, mate. Enjoy your game this afternoon up against the Dogs. Can you win today?
I can reckon about halfway through the last quarter today. I'm bullish.
Love your work. Thank you, Ralphie.
Thank you, Ralphie. RacetrackRalphy.com.au. Quick one here from Keg, Big Kegger. I tuned in to listen to Jovial, Marty and Shorty having a laugh and calming me down before golf. Not two angry men that want to make me smash the ball out of bounds. Oh. That is from our man Kegger. Hit him straight, Kegger. Just right, keep Kegger. Him up the fairway.
Stay tuned in, great man. We'll get some laughs.
After a huge weekend of racing and sport, we can all do with a Sunday saviour to round out the punting weekend in winning style. The Tab Touch Sunday Saviour is here to sweeten your Sunday on the punt. It's over to the boys to provide this week's edition of Tab Touch Sunday Saviour.
Yes, hallelujah to that. Get involved, punters. The Retrovision text line 0427 789 571. That's 0427 789 571. Throw your hat in the ring. You need it to be a multi, somewhere between 2 and 4 legs. Needs to be in by 9 o'clock this morning. And our winner last week was Pete, Marty. Is that right?
Peter Sanfilippo, and he got it with a 2-legger, New Zealand Trots. $13.32 was his returning dividend for the 2-legging multi.
Bang, bang. It's that easy. Good on you, Pete. Throw your hat in the ring. Go again. Good luck to everyone playing along with the Sunday Saviour this morning.
On the Aftermath, it's time to introduce the 1985 Brownlow medalist from the Footscray Football Club, Brad Hardie. Introducing the boy from Hilton, the AFL guru, Brad Hardie.
Oh, Bradley.
Good morning, Marty. Good morning, Shorty. Good to be with you. Make it 2 legs or 3 legs. Don't do what I did and go 4 legs and have a double meatloaf.
What were you doing last week?
What was a man
thinking? Getting ahead of yourself there.
Oh, I was dancing in the lounge room. I was 3 to go. I said, Marty, it's just put in and take out. And I thought, well, I'll get back on the horse today. And I go up to Kalgoorlie. Where's my girls? What's going on? Is there an inquiry? Where's Lucy? Where's Tash? What's going on?
Lucy's gone to Mongolia for the derby up there.
Mongolia?
Yeah.
Oh.
No markets either, Brad. They're not letting us on.
No, I saw that. I saw that. They'll come late for that one, Shorty. But anyway, an interesting round of footy so far, and 3 more games to go today. And there was a few little. Well, it started on Thursday, didn't it? With Collingwood. I mean, they've got to admit to the first thing of when trying to improve is admitting that you got faults, and at the moment they're in denial. Shorty, Collingwood, they just don't seem to have that in there. It's like Fonzie. Where you can't say wrong.
Well, is it all, Bradley, the big $1 million question that's been posed by many is it all over for the Pies for this year, or can they find a way to turn it around?
No, they're lucky, Shorty. It's never over because currently they sit on, as we say, 60 points, and they've got to they've got a chance to beat Melbourne in the last round. So they'll still be there. Look, I've got them, I don't know, we've all done our predictors, but they've all gone out the window at different times. But I've got them finishing probably 5th, or maybe, if they get in the top 4. But the thing that worries me is we talk about it, Marty, we talk about it all year, is that when you get into August going into September, the game goes up in speed, and they don't have it, Shorty. They just don't have leg speed. They've got Nicky Dacos, who's battered and bruised. They've got McCreary is more of a Ford 50 speed, and so is Bobby Hill. So that's their leg speed in a nutshell. But a few of their older boys just feeling the pinch a little bit. Unlucky, how it went down early the other night. Had to throw McStay back. Frampton got exposed a little bit. But it was just the leg speed of Impey and these sort of guys just blew them off, didn't it? And they were able to take them on through the corridor, which is Collingwood's Achilles heel. And, they really put I think we all thought that Hawthorn had a chance, but we never saw a 10-goal thumping. And you just have to realise 4 out of the last 5 weeks they've lost. So, admittedly some with honourable losses, but still, that's the way it is. 4 out of 5, you're out of form.
All going smoothly for Geelong against Essendon. They didn't cover the line, but did what they had to do.
No, exactly right. Well, that's typical of Geelong, isn't it? You know what I mean? And we're a bit unlucky there, Marty. We had a late scratching, but we inserted Tyson Stengel, who had 3 crooked behinds. We got his radar off, but. Young Neil, as I said, Shorty on Friday night to the boys, I said, look, they're all going to go for Jeremy Cameron because he's trying to get that to that 100. And I said, the bloke who might get off the chain is Neil. Well, he kicked 3 in the first 3 minutes. Yeah. And apparently his family, I heard the other day, the boys spoke to him after the game. They said, what's that interesting little gesture you do after you kick a goal? He said, well, the family have a shot of vodka every time I kick a goal.
Good on them.
The way they're going to go, they're going to be pissed at quarter time.
Mrs. Neal was living up to her name, a scratcher at quarter time. She was scratching herself after a few Jose Cuervos nice and early into the game. That's for sure and certain. Very nice work. And eventually we saw a few goals for Jeremy. Ended up with 4-5, but he didn't kick. He didn't bring his kicking boots on the night, or he could have ended up with 7 or 8.
No. Look, I think they've got to try and I'm sure they will. They'll try and compartmentalise it. I mean, they'd love to. He could have a big day out next week. They got Richmond, is it? I think I'm not sure, but Richmond are plucky. Those young blokes are having a crack. I mean, it was a dour game yesterday. It was a forgetful game, really, to be brutally honest. But
we'll fly through that while we're on it. Brad, we'll quickly go through this game. Richmond, St Kilda. The Saints got home by 4 points. Richmond had their chances to win the game. Nasai Wangani-Malira once again outstanding for St Kilda after a quiet first quarter. He still ended up with more than 30. And the $1 million question again is, will he stay or will he go? Everybody's got the question in the air. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm thinking he's out. I'm thinking he's going. I know for a fact that Port and Adelaide are both rapidly running around like chooks with their heads cut off, trying to strike deals with other clubs to get early draft picks and the like, because you now can trade your future draft picks 2 years in advance, Shorty. So that might be some sort of option. But really, you want something for the now. I think St Kilda needs something for the now. Yeah. And so from that point of view, they're working busily. But yeah, he was quelled. They held him to 12 disposals at half time, and then they let him off the chain. And I don't get it because, like, Uzo's done a pretty good job, and I suppose they thought they were going okay, but he had 13 disposals, Shorty, in the third quarter. Well, you'd think you thought the bells and whistles would be going off on the computers there, and he and Sinclair both rolled forward in the last quarter, got involved, and unfortunately, and they've been fantastic Warriors, don't get me wrong, but it was Vlauston and also McIntosh made 2 monumental blues between them. When Richmond were going into their forward 50, to basically win the match.
Win the game,
you
yeah.
know, and yeah, dropped the mark, missed a kick, and it went back down the other end, and they got out of it. But it was laborious stuff. It was it wasn't a game. It wasn't a game you want to send out to people and say this is how you play AFL footy.
Okay, Brisbane were beat by Sydney by 2 points. Let's have a listen to what Fagan said after the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was a low pressure game, wasn't it? Both sides. I mean, we ended up more tackles than them. It was just a transition game. Not enough stoppages. We won clearances by 17 tonight. Normally when we do that, we get a good result, but we only won scores from stoppages by 14 points, so we weren't able to take, you know, enough advantage from there. We're plus 11 from centre bounce, which usually gets you a good result here at the Gabba. But the biggest thing in the game is we couldn't win ground ball in our front half. And it was that way all night until the last quarter, and then we win ground ball in the last quarter and we win the quarter. I think I spoke about it at every break. So that intensity to lock the ball in by our forwards and by our mids to squeeze in was inconsistent tonight. And they kick 8 goals, 7 from their back half. That's the game. And we're minus 22 ground balls in front half, so there it is. And it was even worse than that at three-quarter time. So, you know, if we get 65 inside 50s, we usually win, which is what we did tonight, but it didn't turn out that way.
Yeah, permutations are varied and many, aren't they? When you think about it, and the Lions are now in it. They're in those chats because they've got Fremantle away next week and they've got Hawthorn at home the following week. Lose both, and they're vulnerable like everyone else. But from my point of view, Marty, they led a challenge, Shorty. They've risen to the challenge every time this year, and I'll mention 3: Hawthorn at the MCG, tick; Geelong at Geelong, tick; Collingwood at the MCG, tick. When they go in as the hunted, they're just having a little bit of trouble, Marty, and you raised it many times throughout the year. They very rarely kick 100 points at the Gabbatoir. You know, they've
been off there,
sort of
haven't
around
they?
about.
Yeah.
They've been off. You know, I think they kicked 90 earlier in the season on that hot day against West Coast, and they should have. And they kicked 90 and come up short the other night. But Sydney, good on Coxie. He's got them running through the lines. You know, obviously they can't make it, but the bottom line is they're going to have a bit of damage. And Geelong will be a little bit nervous next week playing them at the G. SCG, that is. And I think that, if Heaney, their good players play well, Goulden, and they're dangerous, they're Sydney Swans, and they might have exacted a little bit of redemption, but, mate, they'll never exact enough of redemption after that pitiful grand final appearance last year, which Brisbane got them.
Yeah, gee, their good players were hot, though, weren't they? Goulden, I thought Heaney was phenomenal. Another 5-goal game for a guy that's getting 23 disposals. He is just an absolute star for the Swannies, and they'll continue to be a headache for whoever they play between now and when the finals start.
Sure.
And one thing I just want to say on Brisbane, he's been one of my favourite players, Charlie Cameron, but gee, he's been down this season. Another goalless game from him yesterday, and he's just had a really quiet year where the ball just hasn't been finding him. He's struggled to have impact on a lot of games.
Nice. I reckon this has been going on for a bit.
Yeah, well, this year, though, it's his lowest ever average games, goals per season. He's down. He's right down. On
a graph, he's been heading south for 3 years.
He has, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Brad, can he spark up?
I think he's going to get an opportunity on the expenses of Optus next week, but I hope they don't make the mistake of, sacrificing somebody else for him, just to keep him in the team. And that can happen because they bat pretty deep, as we know. They've got plenty of coverage through the midfield. Lockie Neal hurt his thigh in the first quarter last week and continued on. They got the 4 points, but at what cost, having not there for the last 3 games. And, we'll see what happens. But, Archie's been a little bit off as well. Not off, but he hasn't been kicking goals as regularly as he would have liked. I mean, Bailey, Rayner was a bit quiet last night, and they've just got to get everybody, if they get the potency right, as Fagan said in that post-match, if they get it inside 65 times, you'd think they'd be winning, but they just haven't got the chemistry. Logan Morris is going like a star, we know that, but he needs some help. Sometimes you need those little chips in blokes coming in, and they haven't had McCarthy and a few of those. Forget about them. They've been trying to make their way back, but they're not going to make their way back. So they've got to rest with their lot now, and they've just got to keep moving those magnets around to make sure that they're still dangerous in the forward 50.
Carlton did it in reverse last night. Normally they're in front giving up a lead. They were charging home late, but Gold Coast 93 beat them 74.
Yeah, well, Gold Coast did what they had to do early, and they had the setup. And again, as you say, Carlton sort of came back really, really strong. Well, not strongly, but they came back and had a crack at it in the second half and ran through the line, which they haven't been able to do for the majority of the season. So the Suns are in a really, really well placed now. I mean, pretty big game against the Giants coming up. But other than that, a couple of games against your boys, they could possibly, with the permutations, finish third the way they're going. So that's a magnificent effort by Hardwick and Gold Coast. Do I think they can win it? No. But, you know, if when you finish third, you at least give yourself a chance at the title, I'd suggest. That's for sure.
All right, Brad, we've got the Freo v Port Adelaide game. Marty, have you got some audio there you'd like to go to?
Yeah, let's go to the coach.
I'm making a habit of doing that, which, you know, really proud. Like I said to the players after the game, really proud. Well, mixed emotions, because I'm really proud of the way we fought it out, really proud of the way we adapted to the way the game was played and what the game needed, but... yeah, we probably had our worst 20 minutes or 15 minutes of footy we played for a long time in that second quarter. You know, to concede 8 goals in a quarter, but it was just the way we were conceding them and the speed at which they got on top and started kicking goals it was unacceptable, clearly. But yeah, we just stuck at it and. We've found it hard to beat Porty here obviously. It is the first time we've beaten them here, so, to come out on top. But, I guess we made it hard on ourselves with that second quarter, but in the end, all we had to do was win, and we got it done.
Yeah, they're testing the footy gods at the moment, Shorty, that's for sure.
That's the truth.
It's rained down on them really, really well. But, look, I mean, you can't have that. You don't want 8 goals in a quarter. I mean, it looked like it was going. Or we suggested, Muddy, that they needed to start well, Shorty, and they did, which was good. But then they just had this big nana-nap, and they just got on top, poured out of the middle, and they really started with 8 goals. You know, it's always a little bit of a worry. Fortunately, the big boys stood up again late in the game to get them over the line. And look, again, we talk about the permutations. Win 2, top 4 beckons. Lose 2. Who knows? That's just the way it is. There's so many. Look, I think the main dangers: Fremantle, Bulldogs, Giants, Brisbane. They look the ones that are can be vulnerable if they win or lose. If they don't win, they don't play. If they win, it's going to be an extraordinary year, Shorty, where 15 wins, Marty, 60 points may not see you get in, to the finals on percentage. Unbelievable stuff, and that's the one thing that Fremantle don't have the luxury of, and that is
percentage.
Them and the Giants look the most vulnerable in the percentage marketplace. So, yeah, most of us, as I say, Justin was right about just had to get it done. But geez, I tell you what, his heart would have been racing. It would have been a medico on standby had they not got over the line, I would have thought.
That's the truth. Sure. But importantly, they're continuing to win now, and that's 11 of the last 12, I think. So they're having a very good run. Now, Brad, I just quickly wanted to touch on a really special story out of the Bulldogs game today. Of course, it's the Pink Lady game where they raise money for breast cancer. And a fellow you know well there at the Bulldogs, Oscar Baker, really nice piece Josh Gablich put together. So for people that aren't aware, Oscar Baker started wearing a black armband in the first game after his mum, Trudy, passed away from breast cancer in 2017. Back then, he was playing for Aspley in front of a few hundred people in Queensland. He'll continue that ritual in the annual Pink Lady game today. He is one of his 45 games for the Bulldogs in Melbourne. Every other game the past 8 years, he wears that to remind himself of his mum, Trudy, and when others didn't believe that he'd make it to the AFL, she believed he would. Brisbane cut him from the Lions Academy as a teenager in 2015. He didn't get a shot until the Demons plucked him out of the NEAFL with pick number 48 in the 2017 AFL draft, just before his mum lost her battle with cancer. Oscar promised her that he would get drafted. The goal was to play one game at the highest level. 8 years later, Baker is still here, still turning up every day, fighting for his next opportunity and paying tribute to his mum. This is a really, really special story.
Yeah, they do it really well, Melbourne, too, with the Pink Lady game, and there'll be a big procession of people going out, men and women, going out there today and making up a nice little mural on the ground. He's a very popular player down at the Dogs. I mean, is he the best player? No, he's not. But I tell you what, he knows he's got a good take on life, Shorty, as you say, and that's obviously driven by his mother, and he knows his role. And that tackle last week that you saw in the last quarter, when the Dogs had the game well and truly in the bag, I mean, just typifies the way the guy goes about it. So good luck to him today, and hopefully there's many cherished memories for everybody who's lost a loved one to the deadly breast cancer. So it's a magnificent day here, boys. I know you've been suffering over there a little bit. It's brilliant over here.
All right, let's look at them.
Brilliant.
Let's look at them. GWS $1.04 north of 10.50. It's 48.5. Do the Giants cover it?
Yeah, look, it doesn't matter if they don't, but they need to, because they need the percentage. They need to keep, the percentage is all about keeping North Melbourne to no score as little as possible. That's what it's all about. It's not so much the margin, but they need a big win, and they need to keep North Melbourne, and North Melbourne have probably got nothing to lose, so just be wary, punters. Those line points can kill you.
No Larky, no Curtis might make it difficult for North Melbourne to kick a score. Melbourne v Western Bulldogs, $4.10 the Demons, the Doggies $1.24. Yep. That line's moved from 24.5 to 26.5.
Yeah, I spoke to the Cockroach the other day. Look, they're wary. They know. I mean, look, Melbourne were pretty good, albeit only against West Coast last week. They can still play a bit of footy. They've still got a few names on paper. We know the game's played on grass, but the Dogs are going to be trying to control the ball on the inside, Marty, as they always do, Shorty, and create enough opportunities for themselves, for Norton and Darcy, and they should be able to do that. And that's the only knock on Melbourne, to be brutally honest. They'll get a bit of the ball, and they'll go inside forward 50, as they saw last week. But their forward line has been a little bit dysfunctional, to say the least, and the Dogs will be on their guard and just make sure that they stop the opportunities coming forward for them. If they do that, the Dogs will win. Okay,
Christians to the Lions at Optus Stadium today. It'll be interesting to see how many turn up. West Coast $15, Adelaide are $1.01, 59.5 is the line.
Yeah, look, their midfield and their front six are going to be super too dangerous for West Coast. They won't be able to live with that. But, you just want to see a little bit of improvement from the West Coast. Again, you get one a month out of them in terms of effort. And, they just don't have the skill level or the competition levels, the fitness to go with the Adelaide Crows. And I dare say that Jordan Dawson, Thilthorpe and co will have a day out. And the Adelaide Crows... What's the weather like there, boys? Is it going to be a little clear up a little bit, or is it going to be filthy?
Shower or two, possible rainfall, 2 to 9 mils.
No, well, that's not too bad. So, I think Adelaide Crows will... What's the line there, Marty, on that game? So,
10 goals, 59.5.
59.5.
Yeah, it's probably a bit dangerous in the wet, but, they'll be winning by as far as they want to, the Adelaide Crows, that's for sure.
Okay, now what about a Sunday saviour for today, Bradley?
I've got you one here.
Yes.
Let's go to Dubbo Race 4, number 9, Cranich. That's the put in, take out, $1.70, but I say that all the time. That's the one that lets me down. Dubbo Race 4, number 9, Cranich. Then we go to Wagga Race 5, number 4, Take the Rap, Resuming. Good horse. $2.20 there, Shorty. And back to Dubbo Race 7, number 6, Upwardly Mobile for Rodney Northam. Resuming today. It's a nice horse as well, $3.40. So Dubbo 4-9, Wagga 5-4, Dubbo 7-6. And that's $12.70 for me and Ginger today. And come on, let's see if we can get it over the line.
You little beauty. For loans 1, 2, 3, and also Retrovision.
Yes, boys, and he's a beauty. And don't forget, during the week, Frankie Lee at Ross's Auctions. He's an absolute champion, is Frankie. Good luck today, boys. I hope you find a winner, and enjoy the rest of your show.
Call them well. Thank you, Bradley.
Thanks,
there he
Brad.
goes, Brad Hardie. You'll listen to him again tomorrow morning on Monday and Tuesday Sports Daily. We'll just cover one off before we go for a quick break. Here it is here. G'day, Marty and Shorty. Cheers to you guys for the positivity today about the switch. Good to hear some maturity from Tab Touch Radio. And then he goes on to say that he's not happy with the way it's been covered by a few on the radio station. So that's the way it goes.
It's okay. Look, everyone's got different takes on things, but for me, I just think if you can get an outcome whereby industry members still get the opportunity to race for prize money, punters still get the opportunity to have a bet. Is it ideal? No, but is the outcome on a day where there's already other meetings being called off, we still get the chance to have a bet. And you're not forced to. You don't have to if you don't like the change of meeting. But for those that are happy enough to still have a bet with the change conditions, the opportunity's there. And in life, all we ask for is opportunities, Marty.
Yep, that is for sure. And I love this one from Jim of Pommy Pie. His young man Charlie plays in the integrated competition for the Coolies.
Yes.
And they played their first final yesterday, but went down 22-13 in the wet against Curtin Uni Integrated. No wallet impact as Charlie couldn't kick a goal, was on 20 a point. Theo highlight, though, was Elvis, an Indigenous man who has a whole range of life challenges and plays with his carer on the field. Elvis played a blinder with several kicks, intercepts and a tackle, and seeing his toothless grin from ear to ear when the coach called him out at the end of the day made everyone's weekend. That is Jim.
Doesn't that give you some perspective?
Yeah.
And good luck to Charlie. I hope he gets a big bag in the next few weeks and makes Jimmy pay up big time.
And Jimmy, I asked you on Friday, mate, where are you with the Pies? You've got to fly that flag. Now, morning, boys, just after your thoughts regarding the long-term effect that the racing at Pinjarra and Bunbury will have during the wet weather. Acknowledge we're only in August, but with the winter, we're having both obviously getting really tired and cut up. Charles Bryan of Carrinup. They are going to need a little break at some stage and remedial work done, and just let's hope we have a nice warm spring.
Yes.
That'll be the answer to it.
And there'll need it to be a little bit of juggling as well. So heading
Northern
forward
will come in for some heavy lifting, and then Ascot will come back onto the radar as well. So they should be right. Look, you've got to trust the people in charge, that they know how far they can stretch the lackey. And if it gets to a point where, and just say it rain for another, for all of August, might get to a point where, sorry, but we aren't racing. It's happened before. It happened at Sydney today. But hopefully,
and that for me is the worst outcome.
Yeah, because probably the worst is 1 and out. Or 2 and out.
That's it, yeah. On the right, to say there's a race day, 1 or 2, and then everyone has to go home. That is worse than in advance. But from an industry perspective, and owners are really important for the sport. When you're paying bills for your horses and a horse is set for a race day, even if the distance is slightly different and the venue is slightly different, they still get an opportunity to turn up and race for the prize money and have a chance for you to get something back the other way. But if they're not going to the races, you can't get the return on the money that you're paying up for, Marty. And we know with horses in particular, they've only got a small window. Once you get a horse up for a preparation, you can't just say, we'll come back another 2 weeks or 4 weeks. Sometimes by that stage they're over the top and they're not ready to race anymore. They're ready for a paddock instead of a racetrack. So.
Tell you who's a little winner here too, the Goldfields. I've noticed their fields today stronger. So trainers and more Perth trainers or Metro trainers going up there. They're so, well, let's go up there and find some firmer tracks. 28 away from 8 o'clock. Now we've got a good hour coming up. Half an hour coming up. We don't want an hour, Shorty. Aiden de Campo's first off. So we're talking pacing at Gloucester Park on Friday night. He's starred there. Then we'll hopefully get hold of Ben Pearce because he's heading up to the Goldfields. Big chances today in the Campbell Cup. And finish it off with greyhound chasing Lewis Clay. Love listening to Lewis. Very good trainer. He'll be talking about his win last night with Timmy Tesla.
Timmy.
On the Aftermath, you're listening to Marty Young and David Shortte right here on Tab Radio Racing and Sport.
On the outside, Canterbury Fire's running a good race. And then came Ma Petite Dame, who's trying to get to Crunch and Sip, who's holding on the inside. And then Mars Attack is coming through as well. Into the straight they run, though, and doing it well. It's Wishing Bell. Wishing Bell is well out in front of Category 5. Crunch and Sip comes through, grabs second near the line. But it's coming right away, Wishing Bell, a very talented filly in 28-4 and 28.
Yeah, that's the finish of the 2-year-old Fillies Diamond Classic, sponsored by Trotsin, taken out by Wishing Bell, and Aiden de Campo joins us. Hi, Aiden.
Yeah, good day, Marty. Shorty, how are we?
Going beautifully, thanks, Aiden. Probably not quite as good as you, though. They're the results that you love having. The Trotsin 2-year-old Fillies Diamond Classic, $100,000 race. You train it, you drive it, you go home with plenty out of a race like that, and you would have been delighted with the way that Wishing Bell went. Tell us a little bit about how you got your hands on Wishing Bell and what sort of horse it's been for you at home in the build-up to the race.
Yeah, looked her race to win on paper, and she's done that good. So, we purchased her at the sales. Was the last bidder on her in the ring, and she got passed in and messaged the breeder, Cody Charles. Teddy Charles, whilst he was in the ring, just after she passed him, said, just hold on to her, mate. I'll come see you after the sale. Ended up purchasing her after the sale and took her home, broke her in. And from the day we broke her in, she's been nothing but a little sweetheart, really. She plays three-legged, never tried to boot us out the card or anything like that. So she's been such a no fuss horse right from the start. And she's kind of worked up into a 2-year-old campaign. She's quite a lazy little horse at home, so you don't really get a great gauge on her. But some of her race starts, she's been ultra impressive and keeps stepping up to the bar, which is the main thing.
Gee, the good judges who I talked to, RTB and others, are rating her very highly. What did the win on Friday night tell you about her? Are those ratings correct?
Yeah, I'm always one to let the horse do the talking a bit. Don't like to put huge raps on them and don't want them to, get over the top and then disappoint. So we'll let her decide how good she's going to be. But I think Friday night she won quite easily. She found the front easily enough and just ran a half. So didn't prove too much. But I think her run 2 starts to go at Bunbury when she sat 3 deep the trip. That was something that you don't see very often, or especially in 2-year-old fillies.
Aiden, obviously it's a wonderful outcome so sort of early on in the horse's career to have the black type next to your name, good money back into the bank after that initial outlay, and have such a natural horse. How much scope is there long-term for improvement with Wishing Bell? Do you think that she will continue to just mature and develop and get better as time goes on?
I hope so, Shorty. She showed a fair bit of improvement from her first up preparation to her second up preparation. She really, developed a little bit more and probably got a little bit more sharper, if anything. So, her family and that her mother was a really good 2-year-old and got better and better at 3 and 4 and beat the boys at 4. So, hopefully she can continue to match it for years to come.
So what's the calendar look like for her, programming-wise?
So she won't race now till the 26th, I think. There's a bunch of Westbred heats, and then there's the $215,000 Westbred final. That'll be her main target, and then we'll just see how we get through that. If she comes through good, we may give her a start against the boys in the slipper. But I'll just let her tell us how she's going through there. And that's probably her main aim this season. She'll probably have no more than 3 more starts this season and go out for a well-earned spell. And like I said, hopefully she comes back at 3 and can do another job for us.
Of course, one of their features on the program, the top grade event of the night, Aiden teamed up with Magnificent Storm. Let's go back and recap the concluding stages.
27.9 the third quarter. He hasn't moved on Magnificent Storm. He's in front by 2 metres to Golden Load. Lusaka the inside, and then Otis, followed by Hoppy's Way. It's Magnificent Storm in front, doing it well. It's a happy 80th birthday for Ray Williams as Magnificent Storm races home to win brilliantly from Lusaka. Golden Load, Otis, Hoppy's Way.
It's a happy 80th birthday to Ray Williams, and a very good night in the sulky for your good self, Aiden. Obviously, you know this horse particularly well, been an absolute star along the way. Magnificent Storm, and that was feet up on the dashboard stuff. A very impressive win once again.
Yeah, he was. It's just good to have him back, Shorty. He's had a lot of problems over the last 4 to 5 months, probably longer, actually, probably the last year and a half. But I said to Ray the week before, I said I don't think he's felt as sound as he has this time in. He really feels good, and I think it was just a bit of fitness that was worrying him his first 2 runs. And since then, Friday night, he felt back to his best, as sharp as ever. It's exciting going forward. He is getting on a little bit. I think he's an 8-year-old now, but he's only lightly raced, and I still think he can get back to his best towards the end of the season. So that's exciting heading into a Pacing Cup with a couple other really nice horses in WA at the moment. So it's going to be a lot of fun come the end of the year if everything goes well with him.
So has Ray mapped out a short-term program with him that he's told you about yet?
Not really. I think he was only going to give him a few runs and then go for a short break and then come back for that race later in the year. But I think Ray's 80th birthday was last night, so I reckon he might have a bit of a headache today. So I reckon he'll have to wait a few more days before he maps out the program. But I think he just wanted to see him get back to his best, and then was going to sort it out.
I'll let you in on a secret. I rang Ray yesterday and no answer. And I said to him, give me a call. He normally always comes on the program, and obviously for very good reason he didn't come on today. He was too smart for us. Yeah, shouldered arms. Well done. And if you're listening in, Razor, I hope the headache's a beauty for you, mate. For an 80th, you need a good one.
For 80, you can still put him away, all right?
Oh, yeah, he's always been good at it. But a great trainer. He's doing the best with this horse. I would just love this horse for all the planets to align in one of these big races for him and be terrific, wouldn't it?
Yeah, to get him back and, win a pacing cup or even the Nullarbor or something next year, that's been his bit of a bogey race. He's been, around favourite for it 2 or 3 times, and one time he made the race and never had any luck, and the other 2 times he's gone amiss just before the race. So, to get him back for a couple of races like that, and the ownership group, they've ridden the highs and the lows with him, they've travelled with him, and to kind of get back and experience that'd be something that probably. I don't think anyone wouldn't want to see,
Absolutely. We'll be getting right around Magnificent Storm and Ray heading forward, as we will with you, Aiden. We really appreciate you taking some time out of your Sunday morning to join us here on The Aftermath. Continued success to you, mate.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
There he goes, Aiden de Campo. Snoz has come on to the text line again for Retrovision. Time to bite the bullet and do a total rebuild and upgrade of Lark Hill. Great location, central all and transport. This location will be able to be used all year. Great drainage area which can handle the winter months. Stop talking about Belmont. It has had its days. Time to move on and get on with the necessary change. Can't agree with you, Snoz. Can't agree with you, mate. You don't give up a city location like Belmont Park like this to go to Lark Hill, please. I know there's a lot of growth going out that way, and I get all that. And there's a lot of trainers out that way. But this is a pristine location. Spend some money on the track. The track's been a terrific track for how long? But it needs a lot of work and time and money spent on it. We'll do it.
Yeah, invest. You get out of it what you put into it, don't you?
Looks like we've got Benny Pearce, who is on way to Kalgoorlie online right now. G'day, Ben.
Yeah, good morning, guys.
How are you?
Yeah, good. Just coming through Merredin, so we've got a bit of phone service for a little bit.
Yeah, still got a bit to do. Tell us about the Campbell Cup. It looks a pretty good race for Platinum Shot, who was equal favourite close at hand. Just looking at the market now, you've gone out to $4.40 with Platinum Shot.
Yeah, I think she's going really well. She was a stakes place 2-year-old, and she's come back well this prep, and she's a workhorse. She goes around the place, does a fair bit of travelling, and she's chipping away and building up a pretty good portfolio there. She's drawn 1, so she's probably going to need a little bit of luck from there. I think she ends up probably 3-4 back the fence. But there should be a good solid tempo, and hopefully she can find some clear ground at some stage.
First visit to Kalgoorlie, no fears with that?
It is always a question, but she's done a fair bit of travelling and been a number of different tracks, and she's always been pretty consistent with her form.
Okay, the other 2 runners, let's talk about influencing. I think getting up onto a firmer track is going to suit this gelding. Has that always been a plan?
Yeah, for sure. He went up to Kalgoorlie once last year for that Metro meeting, and he won really well. So, like you say, with the horse coming onto a track for the first time, it's always a question, whereas this bloke ticked that box. He didn't really come up last prep. We weren't really sure what was going on there, so we tipped him out, and he's come back. The trial was good, and we thought his first up run was good as well. So I think we should be seeing a fair bit of improvement from him.
And Galaxy Affair, really good opportunity for young apprentice Shani Webster, who's been doing pretty nicely of late. Takes the 3 off here, draws barrier 5, and Galaxy Affair last time out was a couple of lengths behind Laketta's Gift, but Track and Trip has had 2 attempts and has won here over the track and distance, so that's certainly in the horse's favour.
Yeah, he was a really good run last start. He probably should have gone a lot closer. So yeah, he's another one that's done a fair bit of travelling throughout his career, and he always pops up in the right race and he can get the job done. So yeah, I think he should go well today. He's obviously he was a Metro winner as a 2-year-old, and he's probably struggled to get back to that sort of class. But he chips away and he wins the right race when they're in front of him.
So has the market got it right in the race regarding your three? Platinum Shot on top at $4.40, Influencing $8, Galaxy Affair is $10.
Yeah, I think so. Probably not far away. I think Influencing is probably one that at that $8 mark, he's definitely worth a good each way. Each way go.
Yeah, it's a good lead. In the first, you got Call Nick, lightly raced Coney. Well, they're now 3-year-olds. Market likes it, $3.20.
Yeah, he's shown plenty of ability. His trial was really good. Did a fair bit wrong first up. Willie said he was pretty rude and sort of trying to fight him the whole way. And also the track on the day probably didn't suit the way he raced. I think coming to Cal, it's going to suit him a lot better. Definitely got enough of an opinion of him that he could come to Kalgoorlie in a maiden and get the job done.
All right, so Call Me Nick in with good claims in the first. In race number 2, it looks a bit tricky on paper for so many stories. It's drawn the car park out there in barrier 11 of 11.
Yeah, I think she probably needs a few more favours to help her win a race. She hasn't shown a great deal of ability. She's $107 yearling, and she's probably failed to deliver. So we're giving her a chance by going to Cal, and we'll probably try and look to get her up to the mile at some stage. But I think she is pretty limited. And
in the last, Scenic Boom. This is an interesting run. A double figure odds, around $13, but it won first up last preparation, won 2 on the bounce there at Narrogin, and returns fresh this afternoon from barrier 3. Smoke and Joe aboard. Bit to like about Scenic Boom. Can it run a cheeky race in the Lucky?
Yeah, I think he can. He, like you say, he won his first 2 last prep at Narrogin, which, I mean, is probably a pretty similar sort of track to Kalgoorlie. I think he's definitely a good each-way chance. His work's been good, so, I think he can give us something today.
Okay, Betty, thanks for coming on the show. All the best for the rest of that trip, and have a great day. Campbell Cup Day, sponsored by Terra Drilling.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Go well, Benny.
Sunday morning, we will do the talking on The Aftermath with Marty Young and David Shortte on Tab Radio Racing and Sports.
The leader, out by 2 lengths in second place was Italian Stallion. Transcendent up on the inside, West on Sydney running on as they come towards the home corner. Timmy Tesla in front, coming at it off the outside, Italian Stallion and West on Sydney, but Timmy Tesla caused an upset. West on Sydney runs second ahead of Italian Stallion. Transcendent through to the final, then followed by Aston Bollinger.
Big result there overnight. Of course, we had the WA Sprint Championship heats. We now know the 8 runners to go through to the final next week. But Lewis Clay would have been absolutely delighted with the performance handed in by Timmy Tesla to hold out West on Sydney late in the piece there. He now joins us on The Aftermath. Welcome to you, Lewis. Congratulations. A really nice effort from Timmy Tesla there last night.
Good morning, Shorty. Good morning, Marty. Yeah, it was a great surprise last night. Them wins aren't expected, and when they pop up, they put a big smile on your face. So, yeah, very excited about next week.
Geez, you put on a brave face, Shorty. That was a great intro. Shorty had his life running on Western Sydney. Lewis?
I thought it had nearly got there on the line, but Timmy just dug in hard late in the piece. He's been a great dog for you.
Yeah, he's been a bit of a surprise package, really. When we first had him coming through, it just looked like he's just going to be a 400-metre dog, and took him to Cannington and tried to just get him on the arm. He lost a bit of confidence, and yeah, he's really taken to the 520 circuit, so can't complain at all. Very nice indeed. And the final for next week, West on Sydney's come up with the Redwise Barra in 2, Junkyard Clyde 3, Transcendent 4, Italian Stallion in 5, Aston Nero 6. Timmy Tesla comes up with the same draw he won from last night, box 7, an Iconic Jet there in box number 8. He's handled the wide draw okay on the way through. What do you make of that lineup for the final next week? I think we're all going to need a bit of luck to beat the Reds, so with the good draw with Wise Barra in 2. So, I mean, the wide draw doesn't pose any threats for him. I mean, Iconic Jet might come down on him a little bit. We have the kind of first similar split. But yeah, it's going to be a tough race to win. So just happy to win the heat, and never know what can happen in the final. But yeah, going to be hard to beat the red.
He's a winner, 11 from 20.
Yeah, he knows how to find the line. But I mean, this class is a bit better than winning a City 5 and winning the great races that he's won on the way through. So this is his first big step to the big smoke. So yeah, we'll have to see how he lines up.
Well, you can dare to dream a little bit. If it was to win, it'd be some sort of thrill to represent the state at the national championships.
Oh, it'd be a big honour to do that. I mean, it's probably what we all want to do, is represent our state over east and show them what WA racing, what we've got over here, which is quite a quality chasing at the moment.
Yeah, big time, and we've had a pretty good run of it of late as well in the Nationals. You also had a nice winner of the first Flop Shot, took out its maiden. I don't think that'll be the last race the dog wins either.
No, he's shown a bit of ability coming through, especially at trials. We thought we saved him for the maiden heats and tried to do that, but come up short in both the heat and the final. But yeah, he got the job done last night. I was very happy with that. So hopefully he can keep going on with it now.
Absolutely. You're doing a great job with your team. How many dogs are you working with each morning there at the moment, Lewis?
We got 20 in the kennels, a couple of brood bitches, but about 18 race dogs here. So it's quite busy every morning, and a couple of pups sitting out the back. So yeah, it's quite a busy morning every morning.
Excellent.
As a business, paying its way?
Yeah, it's doing the job. Can't
Good
complain.
on you.
I can do it full time, so play golf on the side for a little hobby, and yeah, what more could you want?
Very nice. You keep taking money off the boys on that golf course, and keep training plenty of winners, Lewis. We really appreciate your time this morning. Good luck for the final next week.
Thanks for having me.
Lewis
Clay. He's a ripper. Geez, he trains a lot of winners, doesn't he? His strike rate would be very good.
Has an excellent strike rate. He gets well-bred young dogs into the kennel, works them through the grades, and it was a big effort to hold out West on Sydney last night. One of the bigger wins of that dog's career.
Thank you, David, for coming in today.
Pleasure, Marty. Good luck, punters. Enjoy your Sunday.